Alright, tonight we're going to show you guys how to basically fill a Mylar bag and seal it so that you can use it for your long-term food storage. Like we talked about on our website, we use these Mylar bags. It's a combination of plastic and aluminum to use to store our food storage because of the fact that the number 10 cans that we would prefer to use are not available. We can't get them, but they're just so expensive that it's really kind of led us to use the Mylar bags as, hey, the whole purpose of us being here. So we're trying to save a buck while getting ourselves a year's supply of food. So we purchased these. We happened to get these from the LDS food store online. We were able to order 250 of them at a time. And then here we have ourselves a powdered blueberry muffin mix we got over at Winco. Just a nice dry powder mix, just add water. So we really like that because then we don't have to store other ingredients that might go quicker than the others. So that way it's easier to keep track of and easier to have for your long-term food storage. So to start, I'm going to get my wife over here to help me open this up so that we can actually start to fill the bag. And you want to try and make sure that you, one, don't touch the food at all. Touch it as little as possible. Normally you should have gloves, but we ran out. And two is you want to make sure that you have a clean seal at the top of the bag when you're done. Now what we found is these bags are good to hold about 15 cups of powdered material. You can see she's shaking it around trying to get all the air that she can to settle out of it. Now before you seal the bag, you're going to put it in an oxygen absorber, but we found it's easier to not have to deal with it right now. It's easier to put it in at the end, at least for us. It's up to you though if you want to put it in first or at the end. Either way, they'll do the same. The only problem with oxygen absorbers is the oxygen absorbers can only be exposed to the air for so much time before they go bad. Basically, they use up their capacity. So it's important that you limit their exposure to the air. That's why we do it at the end, it's because we're limiting their exposure to the amount of time it takes to put the oxygen absorber in the bag to the time that you seal the bag. So that way they have maximum use inside the bag while it's sealed. So we're just going to continue to fill this up here. And make sure to take a look at our page about the Mylar bags and the analysis we did between the number 10 cans and the Mylar bags, because it really, for us, this was the viable option, but maybe for you, the number 10 cans is the way to go. We would love to do it. We just don't see the point in spending $2 a can just to buy a can if I buy it in bulk, versus I can get these for near 30, 40 cents a piece. So that really makes a big difference for us with the costs and trying to get this. Because this whole bag here, blueberry muffin mix, we got it over at Winco for I think it was about $7 or $8 is what we spent on it. So, for $8, $9, I got an entire number 10 can worth of food for a whopping $8 versus trying to get it in there for 10. So I'm saving a couple bucks every single bag, which adds up when you're trying to do an entire year's worth of food storage. So how many are we at?
11.
11. So we want to make sure when you're filling it up, you fill up to a proper measurement, because the thing is later on down the road, you want to know how many meals that you can make. And in order to do that, you need to know how much is in here. That's why we're using a standard measuring cup, measuring the number of cups that we need. And we're making sure that each bag stores an even number of the recipe. So this recipe happens to take exactly 3 cups of mix. And 3 cups of mix, we can fit 15 cups. So we actually are putting 5 meals inside one bag, which is exactly what we want, because now we have an even number. It's easier to keep track of in your inventory of your food storage, and later on down the road, you know exactly what's in there. Is the last one? 15. Okay, so she's going to go ahead and she's going to consolidate that the final time. And you see we have a little bit left, so we aren't going to waste anything. We're going to actually have some blueberry muffins this week for breakfast. And that is filling a Mylar bag. So you can see inside what it looks like. And that's pretty much it for filling it with the food. Alright, so we've filled all of our Mylar bags with the food that we want to store. So now we need to get everything ready for our sealing. We have yet to expose the oxygen absorbers, again, because they have a limited amount of time. You can see we have them here in a mason jar. We've had them sealed, vacuum sealed, so that way they stay and they're good. This is the recommended way that you store them, either that or you reseal them in the package that they come in. This we found easier because we can get quick access. So since you're using this, it's important when you do it, you need to have your food saver sealer out, at least that's what we have, with a wide mouth attachment. So that way we can quickly attach it to the jar and reseal those so that way they store for later. So let me move this out of the way, over to the side and plug it in and set it up. Okay, so it's set up and ready to go. So next thing that you're going to need is you're going to need a nice little heater. We've tried some different ways. We tried using the food sealer. It didn't work. You can actually buy an impulse sealer that will work for these. Works really well. We just haven't forked out the money for it. It's usually, they range between $400 and $800 just depending. So we went with the $39.99, you know, hair straightener. So next important thing, here's our bag, our muffin mix that we did earlier that we filled. Obviously we need to label it, and you want to label it before you get to the point of sealing it. So we've got our own pre-printed labels, and I'm going to make sure it sticks on the outside. Important thing to note is to make sure that you also put on here the expiration date. We have yet to do this here tonight, but it's important that you know the expiration date on your food when you store it this way. So do the research and make sure that the food that you're storing is going to be properly stored for the lifetime that it needs to. So you need to make sure that you know that expiration date. So what we're going to do is, now that we have everything pretty much together here and ready, I'm going to need my wife, because we don't want to expose these oxygen absorbers for very long. So my wife's going to come over here and hold this in place so you can see exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to get in here to the oxygen absorbers. Now each of these oxygen absorbers can handle, the ones we have, 300 cc's of air. We put 2 in just because safety net. Don't want to find out later that you didn't have enough. So we seal the we seal that, and while they're sealing, we start to seal on our bag. The other side. It doesn't take very long. This hair straightener is mighty hot. It definitely is melting this material and getting it to bond to the other. Now, we like to try and get about 1 inch down from the top. Now, one thing is a lot of people complain about the air in these Mylar bags and how we need to remove all the air. Here's the thing, is with the Mylar bag, I just melted the material together. And I did it not in a manufacturing plant. So how in the world do I know that it's been properly melted and joined together to have a good seal? The only way to really know is that you need to do basically what they call like a push test, which now that I have this sealed, lay it down on the hard surface, and I'm going to try and press the air out, and I'm going to listen carefully to see if I can hear any air escaping. I don't hear any air, and I'm pressing pretty hard. So then that tells me I have a good seal. So now the oxygen absorbers are at work. And actually, some of the ones that we've had a little longer sealed, you'll notice they actually start to compress because the oxygen absorbers are doing their work and they're actually doing a little bit of compression work. But that is sealing your food in a Mylar bag. And now we are ready to go ahead and we want to put the expiration date on here. But the important thing that we want is we want to log it. What we have found is you need a logging system so you can keep track of what's oldest, what's newest, right? I mean, there's always the expiration date on the cans that you buy and things like that, but for us, when you have so many, it's hard to keep track. And I don't feel like having to write down the serial number of the manufacturer and then go look at this big long number. So what we've done, my wife's going to go ahead and write the one that needs to be on this bag, is we've come up with our own logging system based on the year and the bag of that year. So what she just wrote on here is 14058. So we sealed it in 2014, and this is the 58th item that we've sealed so that we know where it's at. Now we log this in an Excel spreadsheet so that way we can quickly determine how much food that we have, when it's going to expire, and how much more capacity we need, because we're able to set up and track how much we need for each meal. So we're able to see what we still need to buy, what needs to be replaced. But what's nice about it too is using conditional formatting in Excel, you can actually get Excel to start warning you and flagging the different items that are going to be expiring soon in different colors, so that way you know which bags you need to get to quickly before they expire, because you don't want to let them go to waste. So all these things kind of compile all into and make our long-term food storage. It seems overwhelming, but if you just take it one step at a time and kind of make it like a process like we just did here, it becomes real easy, and it's actually a lot of fun. So make sure to check out more about our food storage and other opportunities such as couponing on our website, couponpreppers.com.